today we're going to touch a very interesting topic because VG81 is a very wonderful product. Yeah. Now, let me start the topic by asking everybody questions. Have you ever thought of why we need to eat? Why every day you have to eat vegetable, rice, and meat? Why? Is it because of taste? Or is it because of you feel hungry? Or is it because you just want to boost your energy? No, actually, everybody eat for their own reason, right? But actually, there's a basic reason we eat. Okay, now we need something from the food, and this thing must do us some good, do us good. And this thing is called, the content of the food is that we need. Actually, it's called nutrients. Nutrients. Okay. Now everybody knows about that, but do you know how many type of nutrients we need every day? Okay. So actually, there are 7 categories of nutrients that we need every day. Okay. Now this is some fact that we have to know. Okay. Now the major food and major nutrient that we need is contained of proteins, right? Protein, carbohydrates, and fats. These three categories are important, and we take in a large amount. So these are called the macronutrients. Apart from macronutrient, actually we also have other smaller nutrients that we take in the smaller amounts. For example, like the 6 types of minerals and 12 types of vitamins, and also we have fibers. However, for some fiber is not considered nutrient because we do not absorb fiber, but it plays an important role in our diet because it provides roughage for our bowel movement. And of course, very important is also our water. When I ask how much water you drink a day, what is the proper amount of water you drink a day? See, on average, we need about 2 to 4 liters a day. Okay. Now, what do we eat? So when you talk about nutrients, when you eat your food, do you think about nutrients, or you take because you like the food? So in Malaysia and Singapore, we are food heaven, right? So what do you normally take a day? What is your favorite food? You see this one? This is like the cup noodles. Anybody like cup noodles? What about the rest of this? Wow, nasi lemak, favorite, right? Whose favorite is nasi lemak? Can you type in the chat room? Who likes nasi lemak? Okay, and I can see also dim sum, and bak kut teh. Wow, kun lo min, ban min. Oh, these are all the wonderful food in Malaysia and Singapore, right? Yeah. So in our country, sometimes it's so difficult to keep your bodies shaped in the proper way, right? Why? Because they are also delicious. Our street food, our home cooked food, So these are all available. Now, when you take food, some of them are actually meat it contain meat. Some do not have meat. Okay, so that's why there are some vegan practitioners, but there are also some of us, most of us are actually taking a mix of food. So what actually are the proper food that we need? What are the proper food that we need? As a human being. Okay. Now, actually, what type of food that we eat depends on our body build. Okay. Now, eating behavior for mammals. We are all mammals. Yeah. For mammals, actually, we are can be divided into a few categories. Okay. One is called the carnivore. So carnivore are meat-eating animals. For example, like wolves, like tigers, like lions. And to adapt to this meaty eating behavior, the body structure, especially the digestive system, is adjusted to suit it. Okay, so experts have found out that actually for carnivores, meat-eating creatures, okay, the guts, the bowel, the length of the bowel is about 3 times the length of their body length. Okay, if a adult tiger is about 10 feet, that means the tiger's guts, if you measure it from end to end, will be about 30 feet. Okay, that's it. That's what it means. Then what about us? What about the other type of animals, which is we does not eat meat? So another category is called the herbivore. Herbivore is like things like animals like zebra, gorilla, rhino, elephants. No, they eat a lot, right? But they are actually all these animals eat vegetable or plant-based, and in order to digest plants, because plant-based food is very unique, because in the plant cell they have cell wall. okay, which is made of cellulose, which is difficult to digest. They require longer digestion time. Therefore, the body adjusts to the eating behavior, and they have a longer guts. So how long is the guts of a herbivore? On average, the gut length of a herbivore is about 9 times of their body weight, body length. Okay, so compared to a carnivore, it's about 3 times only. See, if a zebra, let's say, is about also 10 feet in length, then the guts will be 90 feet long. Wow. So it's very, very, very long, right? Exactly, because we need to digest longer time, longer the gut. We have longer time for digestions. What about human being? What do you think human being is also? Herbivore or carnivore? Okay, it's quite amazing to know that actually our guts is also measuring about 9 times of our body height. Wow. Have you ever imagined if you are 7 feet or if you are 6 feet tall, you will have about 6 times 9, 54 feet of guts in your abdomen. Wow. So if you base on the gut length, so humans will eat more on vegetable or meat. You decide. But you see, the adjustment of these humans, of mammals to on the food behavior also can be seen in their teeth. See, this carnivore has a lot of sharp teeth for tearing of meats. Herbivore has a lot of flat teeth for grinding, and chewing. So look at human. What about human? Human have both some sharp teeth and also, but most of them are flat teeth. So in other words, human can take both meat and vegetables, and human is fall into a group of animals called omnivore. So and because of the gut length is also so long, just like the herbivore, that means our diet actually we should contain more of vegetables rather than meat. Okay, have you ever thought how much do we eat in our whole lifespan, in one whole, from the day you're born until you die? How much have you put through to your mouth and come out from the other ends? Have you ever thought of this interesting subject? Okay, now do you know actually our digestive system, our gut system is the most overworked organ in the whole body? Okay, now, okay, let me show you. Yeah, imagine an elephant, adult elephant is about 4 to 5 tons. Okay, in our whole lifespan for us human being, we have consumed, the gut has actually passed through 65 tons of food. If an adult elephant is about 4 to 5 tons, from the day you are born until you die, we have passed through 16 elephants through your guts. Can you imagine that? The amount of food you put into the mouth and pass through the gut throughout your lifespan, it can amount to about 16 adult elephants. Oh my God. You see how hardworking is our intestine, right? Another interesting fact about our guts. Okay. Come on, next slide. Okay, now some anatomists has believed the length of guts of every person is different, but averagely about 4 to 5 times, okay, of their height. And gastroenterologists say the measurement of the cadavers, means the corpse, yeah, dead body. They measure, they found that the duodenum is the front part of our small intestine, is about 60 cm, okay, and the total intestine, small intestine length is about 6.7 cm. And 6.7 meters, sorry, and the large intestine averagely is about 1 to 1.5 meters. But they also found out if we were to be able to expand, break out, and expose the area available, okay, including the area of the villi, the area of our guts can easily cover the whole basketball court. Wow, can you imagine the total exposed area of our guts? When you open up, spread out, it can actually totally cover the whole basketball court. Can you imagine that? Wow, that actually explains why our small intestine is such an amazing, such an effective absorption machines. Okay, now the food that we consume from ingest from our mouth, we chew it, make it small, make it into a small pieces, and it was actually assisted by the enzyme from our saliva, which is amylase, breaking down the all the carbohydrates. Okay, and then we swallow through our esophagus and then down into our stomach. In the stomach, it started to produce gastric juices, highly acidic, and start to break down the food. And also our pepsin enzyme, actually they break down proteins as well as lipase, which break down our fats, will also be produced there. So it further break down these two molecules and then go into our duodenum. Duodenum also have lipase and pepsin to further actually break down all this food into the smallest molecule that our body can absorb in our small intestine. Okay, for example, protein will be broken down into amino acid. The fat will be broken down into fatty acid and glycerol, and also for our sugar, it will be broken down into glucose. Only this small minute molecule will be absorbed in the large area of intestine, small intestine. Okay, now, but some of them might not be, we might not be able to absorb everything. So after that, it will pass to the next part of our guts. After the small intestine is our large intestine. Okay, so this is where we have to, this is where today we're going to focus a bit more. Okay, now you see, this area is where the small intestine join with the large intestine on our right side, left, right bottom. Okay, so this is called the cecum. Okay, now the cecums, below the cecum, there's a small projection, which is called the appendix. Everybody know about appendix, right? So if it's something for some food, if any food stuff fall into the appendix, it may get inflamed and may have to go for operation, right? So is there a use for appendix? Actually, there are some uses for appendix. Actually, in here, it harbors a lot of good bacteria to help us for digestion and vitamin productions. Yeah. Then after that, that is the start of our colon, our large intestine. The large intestine consists of a few parts. Right after it joins with the small intestine, it will start to go upwards. We call this part ascending colon. Ascending colon. Okay, then it turn to horizontal. We call this part transverse colon before it's moved downwards, and we call this part descending colons before it turns inwards to form the sigmoid colon, and then after that it collects into rectums to collect all the balance of the stuff. Okay, stuff before it come out from our anus. Okay, now the main function of small intestine is for digestion and for absorption of nutrient, but colon is totally different. Colon or large intestine, the main function is not for absorption of the nutrient. However, throughout this part, the stuff inside, when they move, it will start to, the colon will help to absorb back the moisture, the water into our blood system. Okay, but if we do so what we want through here is to recover back the moisture, the water. But if the stool were to stay here for too long, some of the toxin in the stool might also be absorbed back into the body. That's why pass motion, we have to do pass motion every day. Every day. Some people ask me, how many times you need to go pass motion a day? Now, it all depends on how many meals you eat. So traditionally, if you take 3 meals a day, I would expect you have to go for 3 times. Okay, if you take 2 meals a day, 2 times. Okay, but nowadays people do not have a proper time. Why? Nowadays people eat irregular time. Anytime you like, you eat. That's why you also produce your stool anytime. Okay, so in healthy practice, of course, I'll suggest everybody should go 2 to 3 times a day. Okay. Now imagine what's all the stuff which is remain in the stool, in the large intestine, are the balance of the stuff, the substance that cannot be absorbed. Whatever we need, the nutrient, the vitamin, the mineral, all absorbed already in the small intestine. So whatever cannot be absorbed has to be, it's called the rubbish that we have to kick out. And all this rubbish contain toxin that has to be eliminated from our colon system. But if you have problems, for example, like constipation, we cannot discharge of this toxin or rubbish regularly. So these toxins then will tend to stay in the colon area for a long time. So that will also have a higher chance for the toxin to be reabsorbed back into our blood system and back to our body. So the effect of it is very, very detrimental to our health and our body's appearance. For example, people always, that's why there's a reason why when people have frequent constipation, you can see their skin structure, the skin appearance will be very bad. They will have dull skin, they may have pigmentations, they may form pickles and pimples and breakouts, you know. So that's why clearing all these toxins daily is become very essential. And sometimes when this cannot happen in the proper way, over a long period of time, some symptoms of cancers may appear. Okay, now, so sometimes when people, now have you ever, I think everybody must have heard of this word, colon cancers, right? So cancer that develop in the colon area, which is very scary, right? So now, and there is actually signs or symptoms when the cancer start to appear, start to develop. Okay, if the colon cancer were to develop in the, we call it ascending colon, the colon part which is going up, okay, on the right side. So you actually will, when the tumor start to grow in that area, actually you will start to feel abdominal pain at that area, at about the right side, and you will also see some bloating of your stomach. And then sometimes the person will also experience unexplained weight loss, suddenly weight loss, you know. And sometimes anemia will appear. Anemia is the blood count also will be lower. Okay. Now the other part that's always we can see cancer's tumor grow is on the descending area, the descending colon. You know, with descending colon where the develops tumor grow, you will see also the abdominal pain, but this time mainly on the left side, And sometimes you will people that develop tumor in the left side, in the descending colon, you will very frequently see the changing of bowel habits. That means they will go to toilets at irregular time. Now, most of us have go toilet, do pass motion quite regular, right? Most of the time, once you wake up, after a while, you need to go. There's an urge to go, right? But some people who, when you develop this some colon cancer in this descending colon, you will see your toilet pattern will change, and there's no fixed time. Anytime when you feel a need to go, okay, and very obvious, very often you will see also bleeding from the rectums, bleeding. Okay, that's why you can see blood stool, you know, blood in stool and things like that, and bleeding even from the anus part, you know, and colon cancer also can the cancer growth also can be found in the near the rectum area. You know, when the rectum area has a tumor, it's quite often common that you can see blood in the stool. You can see bleeding from the anus. Then also discomfort in the bowel movement. You will feel like stomach like feeling, I don't know how to explain, very uncomfortable, you know. And this time, when you feel pain, it's not on the left, it's not on the right, it's on the lower part of the abdomen. Okay, and very often when you take a look at your own stool, if you have grow at the rectum part, the stool will tend to be very thin, very tiny and thin. You know, it's not a normal type of like sausage type. Okay, these are some of the symptoms of colon cancer. Okay, some of the other habits you can easily detect is also like change in bowel for colorectal cancer, means colon and rectums cancers. Okay, you can see changes in bowel habits. You can see bleeding from the anus. You can see blood in your stool. You feel abdominal pain, and sometimes you just don't have appetite to eat anymore. Okay, and that's because of all this problem. You always feel lethargic, very tired every day, and you look pale, sometimes even jaundice, look yellowish. Okay, and in a short period of time, you can see a drastic change of your body weight. So this is what you can normally observe if you start to have signs of colon or colorectal cancer. So now we'll come to now the interesting part. Everybody's waiting. Okay, now I know that our stool or feces is it's not so good, nice to look at, right? Not very beautiful, but it is important. When I ask the questions, have you ever, after doing a past motion, have you ever looked back and then take a peep of your own stools? Anybody do that? If you do, can you type in one into your chat room and see? Anybody do that? Yeah, only one. Only one look back at your own stool. Why? You feel disgusting, is it? Come on, my friend. This is your own produce. It's produced by you. Okay. Okay. Now I know it doesn't look very pleased, very beautiful to look at it, but I think it is important. We have to accept that this is the product of your body. It's from your body. Whether you like it or not, it will give you a lot of information about the condition and the health of your bowel system. So now, in fact, scientifically, there's a Bristol stool chart. So we have they have documented different types of stool to give you the indications of the condition of our body, especially our guts area. You know, according to WHO report, you know, those who actually go to toilet every day, even though you have a regular toilet time, you still have about 6 to 10 kilos of stools in your large intestine. Even though you have, if you don't have constipation, you do go to toilet regularly, still your body is retaining about 6 to 10 kilos of rubbish or stool in your large intestine. Can you imagine that? You are carrying this 6 to 10 kilos every day, going here and there. Okay, and therefore, it is one of the reasons why if this stool is not always being pushed out or discharged out, it may cause adverse effect when excessive toxin is reabsorbed back. It may lead to colorectal cancers, colon cancer, rectal cancers, and most of the problem of the cancer are all caused by the stool, which is still retained in our large intestine, especially the residual stools that may have been staying there for years. Okay, now today, let's take a look at the stool chart and see how healthy is our stool, and you judge for yourself. Then you will know how healthy is your gut. Is it okay? We go to a bit detail. We go to a bit more tasty discussion now. Okay. Now look at the Bristol stool chart. Next slide. Okay. Now there are several types of appearance of stool you can categorize stool. Okay. Now the type 1 is the stools that come out separate, small lumps. Have you seen the rabbit stool before? Rabbit feces. If you go to a rabbit farm or you have ran a rabbit before, you know the rabbit stools like small little bits, like money like that, small little one, right? So if your stools looks like that, okay, so separate lump, hard lumps, normally this is an indication of actually very severe constipation. Okay, now the type 2 also. The type 2 is the stool looks a bit lumpy, sausage-like, but short sausage, like with cracks, but with lumpy, hard. Okay, so type 1 and type 2 like this normally is a sign of constipation. So that happened because we had weak peristalsis. So what is peristalsis? Peristalsis is actually, we refer to bowel movement, how the time in the bowel is moved along into the tract, from one end to other, is all by peristalsis, the contract and release of the circular muscle of our bowel. It will push the time forward. So that movement is called peristalsis, or we call it bowel movement. So when you have weak bowel movement, or weak peristalsis, lumps of stools will form. Okay, stool become dry and hard, especially if you do not go to fast motion every day. When stools stay in the colon for a longer period of time, we have longer time for the colon to absorb the moisture or water from the content. So the stool will become drier. Okay, and for this type of person, we require a lot. We need more intake of fibers, okay, soluble and insoluble as well. And also we need hydration. Hydration means drink more water. Okay, so that's why people with constipation problem, the simplest solution is check whether you take enough fiber, whether you drink enough water. Okay, this is the most important part. So okay, then we move on to type 3 of stools. Type 3 is like sausage, longer. Okay, they have a sausage, and they may have some little cracks on the surface, but it's quite smooth. When you pass motion, it's quite smooth. You feel comfortable and like that. The type 4 is also like sausage but smoother, less crack, like the surface is more smoother. Sometimes looks like a banana. Of course, darker color, okay, soft banana or something like, if they're longer, you look at small snake, okay, like that. Okay, so if you have type 3 or type 4 type of stool, congratulations. So your stool are healthy. Your bowel movement is doing the nice job. You should be going, you shouldn't have any constipation problem. Okay, so this is what we want to achieve, type 3 and type 4. However, there's also another 3 more types, which is a bit we have to pay attention to. So type 5 of stool actually is soft blobs. So it's soft. It doesn't have but still have clear-cut edges. You know, soft, lumpy a little bit, but what slightly softer than the type 2 and type 4. You know, not into tofu fire, but maybe softer. How could I? Okay, never mind. You can imagine. Okay, okay. So these are the sign of, this is a sign of lacking fiber. That's why they cannot form the long sausage. Okay. Now, also for type 6. Type 6 actually is the stool came out, so it's a bit mushy consistency, like could be a little bit like flush out in a square mushy consistency with red edges. So there's the edge is not very clear anymore. Okay, unlike the type 5. Type 7 also is even worse. It's watery, liquid consistency. Okay, no solid pieces. Like when you have get some dirty food from the street, you know, street food. Sometimes you could just go and prepare everything. Everything will come up in just a few seconds. Everything watery. So type 5, type 6, type 7, these are all type 6, type 7 is considered diarrhea. Okay, type 5 is a lack of fiber. So these 5, 6, 7, they have a common problem. So the problem is because they have too much harmful bacteria in our colon area. So colon area is another is a very important part, because this is where a lot of fauna, we call it the fauna or the bacteria, which is staying there. So, but fauna, we have good one and have bad one. So we have the beneficial bacteria. We also have harmful bacteria. Harmful bacteria will cause us diarrhea, but beneficial bacteria will help us in our absorption or breaking down of nutrient for absorption, as well as production of some vitamins, and also to enhance our immune system. Okay, now and most of the people, they have suffering from a symptom called irritable bowel disease. You know, so these people normally, when we do not have good fauna or good bacteria in our colon, we will have this problem called irritable bowel disease. So people will go will pass out very watery stools, and it may happen a few times a day. Okay, so it's irregular time, and most of the time is right after the food. Okay, now this is likely due to dietary imbalance, and also too much of harmful bacteria in the body, and it also happens often to people who are dehydrated, not enough water. Okay, now how to address this problem? So same thing, we need to have take in more fibers, you know, fibers to produce a better roughage that help us to form better shape or lumps. If the roughage is in the bowel, they help us to form this sausage-like shape that can pull along. So that will ease us our peristalsis or bowel movement. You know, of course, at the same time, we have to introduce good bacteria into these bowel our colon. So normally, a lot of people will start to use now. Popularly is taking in some probiotics. Okay, probiotics, most of the bacteria that we found in the for example, fermented product, for example, like yogurts. Okay, for example, sauerkraut, kimchi, tempeh, these are all good food. Yeah, they actually can help us to provide us all these beneficial bacteria. These bacteria, the beneficial bacteria is beneficial because it helps us to produce a good enzyme for help us for digestion, as well as production of vitamin B in our colon area. Okay, now, do you know colon cancer is very scary? Because see, let's look at it, people cutting. You see, now WHO has mentioned, okay, every year 2.7 million people die of this type of chronic diseases due to deficiency in dietary fiber. When we have deficiency of dietary fiber, when one person do not take enough fruits and vegetables. Okay, because fruits and vegetables contain fibers, and the end result of this chronic disease is cancer, and that amount to almost over millions of people die of because of this cause. You see, and you see, astonishingly, because the glass intestine contain all the extra material that we can absorb, and toxin was also in there. So toxin in the intestine is the colon that actually causes us to develop cancer. But however, in Malaysia, astonishingly, we found that Chinese has a higher rate of getting colorectal cancer due to our diets, due to our eating habit. Okay. And also, Ministry of Health is the same report. It's a similar report from Ministry of Health from Malaysia. Chinese has the highest higher rate of getting cancer, and if you compare male and female, the male Chinese, number one cancer that we've already reported is colorectal cancer. Okay, the second is lung cancer, and then prostate cancer. For female Chinese, the number one killer is breast cancer. Second is colorectal cancer, and then uterine cancer. You see, in Chinese, colorectal cancer is number one and number two. Now, there are already many reports already published in the media showing that Chinese. So we keep mentioning this because we have many Chinese friends around here, so we have to take care of ourselves and our family members. Yeah, so we have to pre-warn ourselves to take precautions. Chinese always have this higher rate of getting this colon cancer. Now, one of the key reasons is a lot of us like to take dining out. We eat outside. You don't cook at home. Why? Probably because you're busy in business or busy in work. You don't have time to go to market to buy your food, and then you cook yourself. It's quite tough now, especially in this modern world now. Everybody need to look for find a living, put food in the food. But the food that you put in the food is not what you do. It's not what you cook. You buy outside for convenience sake to save some time. But a lot of food they prepare outside, they are processed food. They may be using some ingredient which is not so healthy. But what can you do, right? But that's why. And also sometimes the food outside, once you develop a liking for it, you become addicted. You like to take more outside food than your own food. If you find the outside food is tastier than what you cook, then you stick to your outside food, and that has to be careful. Okay, when you dine outside too often, this is a risk. Okay, now of course now this so rectum cancer is also number two highest rate cancer in Malaysia, colorectal cancer. Yeah, so this is quite common in Malaysia. So many report on this. Okay, so another report from Irritable. See, colorectal cancer is top 3 mortality rate among men, especially Chinese. Again, so many reminders today. Yeah, Chinese men. You see another one. You see, yeah. Now, if you do not take care of our gastrointestinal or GI, okay, your GI also will not take care of you. As simple as that. You know, even a small kid like this report, 9-year-old kids, you know, we feel a bit painful, and you can complain of stomach ache, stomach pain, go to hospital, and when doctors do a X-ray scan, then to their surprise, the whole colon was filled with all the stools. Oh, wow, it's crazy. So sometimes if you do not take care of it, you see that you don't take care of your gut, the gut also won't take care of you. Now, so have you ever really after doing a big movement, you turn back and look into your own stool? Okay, now this is important. Even though you don't like it, you have to start to like it. Okay, this is what you produce, and this tells you the condition, the situation of your gut system. Now, for me, it is important because when you notice certain changes in your stool patterns, so it is easier for you to detect problem from the early stage. So when we tackle problem from the early stage, treatment can be easily found and can be corrected. But if you ignore it or take ignorance of it, don't care about it, when you finally take a look and it's already in the final of a critical stage, then the situation might not be savable. Okay, so food actually, and they are just now I mentioned there are also stools that may be kept in the body, even though we go pass motion every day, 6 to 10 kilo, right? Some of the stool may even stay for years. So these are the residue stools. Okay, now residue stool is even more toxic because they've been staying there for too long, toxin accumulated for too long, and when the toxin is reabsorbed into our body, that is the cause of major problem. Now there is actually then how can we clean our gut system more effectively? So we have to have something to help us, you know. So what can we do to help us to have a better bowel movement, to clear all this rubbish in our large intestine? You should actually look for some sort of therapy. We call it colonic hydrotherapy. That means using water and also food that help to detox naturally. That means high fiber food. Okay. Now actually that is what VG81 says. VG81 is specially designed and rich in a very special ingredient called the blonde grain husk. This blonde grain husk is the skin of a certain grain, a small grain that they will actually dissolve. They actually absorb water when it's put into water and expand and start to absorb moisture from the surrounding. Now it becomes a hydrocolloid that can actually easily absorb a lot of other and form a more solid structure that help the bowel movement. Okay, so this blonde actually help us to defecate, we call it, to discharge the feces and keep colon clean every day. See, and in addition to it, okay, there are 81 kinds of ingredient that consists of vegetables and fruits and cereals in our VG81. That's why it's called VG81. Yeah. This, and how effective is this VG81? No, we have done this. VG81 has been in the market for some times, and the earlier people, they have tried it. I tell you, amazing result. Now you saw the two picture there, which is look very glee, right? Not appetizing. These are not snakes. These are not snakes. These are not the worms. These are really the residue stool. They actually have been discharged after they consume sufficient amount of VG81. So these are some of the results. You see, it can be that long and looks very ugly, right? So when this comes out, it's a very unique type of structure, texture. No, so have you yourself ever tried taking high fiber food like this and have experienced discharging residue stools? Okay, I do have. I share you some experience. Right, when I started to take the VG81 about 2 years ago, I started to take. The first experience, my first week is at a certain time. I find that something is still hanging after you pass motion for a while, and if you feel something is hanging, when you look at it, when you take a look at it, it's like hanging down near the anus, and it won't come out. So I had to pull. Use the hand to pull it down. I know it's ugly. You have to pull it out, and it come out a short strand, you know, slimy, sticky types of stools, you know, thin. Of course, to clean the hand, you know. But this is never I experienced before. I never experienced before. But this is the really good. I believe this VG81 has the answer to help us to eliminate this type of residue stools from our body. And you know, the good thing is after you can discharge this residue stools from our body, you feel light. I feel so light and so fresh and so energetic. So this is the best thing I ever feel. You know. So now they are also over the years. We have collected many samples. Of course, you don't have to hold the hand like this for them, but I just want to show you. So everybody's still having your food. I think you can throw away your food already, right? Okay. Now imagine this is all in your body. Will it be toxic? Definitely, right? So it is better to eliminate than you keep in the body for too long, right? Now another sample. You see, it can be like chain. So long chain and never putus. It can swing a little bit, slimy, springy, crazy. Yeah. So these are all the residue stools that we sample collected, and this has to be eliminated. If it's too long kept in the body, of course, this will at the end you will develop cancers in the colon. Okay, so this is one of the testimonial from MLife that after consuming VG81 only 5 times, 5 cups. After 5 cups, you can see this coming out already. You see there are 2 colors in the stools. The first is a fresh one. The black one is the residue stool that had been kept in the body for too long. Okay, now in short, actually the gist about the important point about VG81 is it is a high fiber, high dietary fibers. It contains very high in dietary fibers. Okay, so in fact, the blonde grain husk is mentioned is a very famous high fiber food in the US. The fiber contained of this blonde grain husk is 8 times. I mentioned again, 8 times higher than the normal oatmeal. So imagine if I take 1 cup of VG81, you're going to take 8 cups of oatmeal. So, so this is so effective, yeah. Okay, now, so when can we take this VG81? So we can take VG81 anytime because VG81 is not just fiber alone. It contains 46 nutrients, of course, with the fibers, and overall is an 80% alkaline food. Okay, so for people who needs to do a proper cleansing of our gut system, this is the answer. You know, they say if you have a good guts, then you will definitely have a good body, because when the gut is clean, you will digest better, you absorb better, and absorb the right things. Then your body will get the right material, the right ingredient, the right nutrient to help to build up our body cells, to also build up our immune system and digest and immunity, right? And also now, who should consider taking VG81? Okay, now those who always worry about the following issue, you should consider taking VG81. First, those who always worry about not taking enough nutrition or maybe malnutrition because they eat little or very picky. You know, when they pick food, they have to pick this. I don't like. I don't like. This one you can take it as a supplement for you. Okay. Those who always take very little fruits in the day, or maybe they don't have time. The fruits are not available in his area, so VG81 will be perfect choice to supplement that. And also people who always think that in his diet he's a meat eater. He eat very little veggie and things like that, so there will be a risk of insufficient fibers. VG81 will be your best choice to supplement your situations. Of course, those who worried about carcinogenic substances left in the guts, like the residue stool that mentions, you should also take VG81 to help us to take care and discharge of or eliminate this type of residue stool from our intestine. Okay. Now, those another group of people that I strongly suggest is the current new modern people, where most of the time you spend outside your house, and normally what you take is the food outside. You miss the soup, the nice soup your mothers prepare you at home, your wife prepare you at home. So those who do not always miss the tonic, the nice tonic your family prepare, you also can consider this on VG81, especially the frequent travelers. Okay, when you're on business trip. Okay, you can always conveniently you can bring a can of this VG81 and you can prepare it in your hotel room or in the local restaurant. Okay, it's easy. Okay, now in short, actually VG81 is not I highly recommend you, because it is not just a fibers drink, it's actually a meal replacement. In it, of course, we contain very high quality fibers, that soluble and insoluble fiber as well. It supplies us the daily fruits and vegetable needs a day, and it also therefore it provides sufficient fibers. It helps us to accelerate our bowel movement in just 1 cup. In short, VG81 is also an alkaline cleanser. Okay, it contains 11 types of beans from the US, especially this special ingredient called the blonde grain husk that is 8 times higher fibers on any other oatmeals. Okay, and it is a well-balanced nutrition meal. In fact, in this case, if you really want to take care of this of our body, take care of our guts, VG81 is the answer to do a total cleansing and also recondition our bowels, our internal guts, our gut system, so that the gut system will be in a conducive environment. Then they provide the proper functions like absorption, digestions and absorptions in our small intestine, and also our colon, bowel movement, our colon side to remove whatever rubbish which is left in our colon system, okay, in our colon. So it is a high fiber food as well as a balanced nutrition meal. So it's a perfect meal replacer booster, and it's a perfect high quality cell food. Good. So for those who have listened to me today, are you interested in getting your guts clean, cleansed, and reconditioned? If you would like to do that, can you type an 8 in the chat room, please? Fantastic. I believe everybody would like to do that, right? Yeah, I strongly recommend that. I myself is taking VG81 at least twice a day, my breakfast and also at night before I sleep. I like to do that. You know, it really helps my bowel movement. I have improved my bowel movement so much. Okay, I feel lighter, and of course, today, what you learned today is about the importance of the VG81, its functions, and the importance of taking care of our gut systems. Of course, then the next question will come. What is the ingredient inside the VG81, which is providing us all this nutrient and also the functionality to maintain the healthiness of our gut system? Especially, you will understand we are not just nutrition, we are also prebiotic. That means providing the food for the good bacteria to grow in our intestine. It help our guts to harbor the beneficial bacteria to enhance our immune system and also vitamin productions. So if you like to know this, then you have to mark a date. You have to look out for the announcement. Today, what I share with you is only part 1 of VG81. The part 2 is coming up soon, where we're going to explain further in more detail the ingredient that we use and the function of each ingredient that we use inside, so that you have a better understanding of the products. Okay, so I hope everybody has learned something today. I hope my sharing is clear and of good help to you. So I wish everybody a healthy guts, healthier body. Okay, and let's go for AG81. That's my sharing today.